in the depths of the earth, where darkness reigned supreme and the weight of eons pressed down upon weathered stone, lay the labyrinthine city of Underholm. Carved into the very bedrock of the world, its winding passages and cavernous chambers stretched for miles, a testament to the ingenuity and desperation of those who sought refuge from the ravages of time. It was here, in this twilight realm of flickering torchlight and echoing whispers, that Seren had spent countless centuries wandering the twisting corridors with the heavy burden of immortality upon their shoulders. Seren's eyes, ancient and weary, gazed upon the familiar yet ever-changing landscape of Underholm. The city was a living entity, its passages shifting and reshaping themselves over the centuries, much like the memories that swirled in Seren's mind. They had seen empires rise and fall, watched as generations of mortals lived and died, all while remaining unchanged, untouched by the relentless march of time. The weight of these memories, of countless lives witnessed and lost, hung heavy in the stale air of the underground city. As Seren moved through the crowded market square, the cacophony of voices and the press of bodies served as a stark reminder of their isolation. Merchants hawked their wares, children darted between stalls, and lovers whispered secrets in shadowy alcoves. Yet for Seren, these scenes were but fleeting moments, snapshots in an endless parade of human experience that they could observe but never truly be part of. The curse of immortality had long since stripped away any sense of connection, leaving only a hollow ache and a simmering resentment that threatened to consume them. It was on this day, as Seren wound their way through the familiar streets, that they encountered Iris, a young scholar whose eyes burned with an insatiable curiosity. Iris, with her quick wit and probing questions, saw past Seren's carefully constructed facade of indifference. In her presence, Seren felt a flicker of something long forgotten, a spark of interest, a hint of the passion that had once driven them in the early days of their eternal existence. Little did either of them know that this chance meeting would set in motion a chain of events that would shake the very foundations of Underholm. As night fell in the timeless depths of the city, whispers began to circulate of a discovery made in the deepest, most ancient part of Underholm. Orion, a respected elder and keeper of the city's oldest secrets, had unearthed an artifact of immense power, a relic that, it was said, held the key to unraveling the very fabric of immortality. The news spread like wildfire through the winding streets, and Seren felt a surge of emotions long suppressed: hope, fear, and a burning desire to learn more. With trembling hands and a heart heavy with centuries of longing, Seren set out into the depths of the city, unknowingly taking the first steps on a journey that would challenge everything they had come to believe about their cursed existence. The journey into the depths of Underholm was treacherous, the air growing thicker and more oppressive with each winding turn. Seren pressed on, their footsteps echoing in the narrow passages, each step a reminder of the countless years they had walked these halls. The walls seemed to close in, whispering secrets of ages past, taunting Seren with memories of lives long forgotten. As they descended, Iris's presence became a beacon of warmth in the suffocating darkness, her insatiable curiosity a stark contrast to Seren's world-weary resignation. Together, they navigated the labyrinthine corridors, their path illuminated by the soft glow of bioluminescent fungi that clung to the damp stone walls. Iris peppered Seren with questions about the city's history, each inquiry chipping away at the immortal's carefully constructed walls of indifference. For the first time in centuries, Seren found themselves engaging, sharing fragments of their vast knowledge and feeling the stirrings of long-dormant emotions. Yet beneath this newfound connection, a current of resentment still flowed, a bitter reminder of the curse that set Seren apart from all others. As they delved deeper into the unexplored regions of Underholm, they encountered other seekers drawn by rumors of Orion's discovery. Some were driven by greed, others by a desperate hope for salvation from the city's oppressive embrace. Tensions rose as competing factions formed, each vying for the chance to claim the artifact for themselves. Seren watched with a mixture of disdain and envy as mortals fought and schemed, their brief lives burning bright with passion and purpose, luxuries that immortality had long since stripped away. The deeper they went, the more treacherous the path became. Ancient traps, set by long-forgotten guardians, tested their resolve. Seren's centuries of experience proved invaluable, guiding them safely through perilous passages where others fell. Yet with each obstacle overcome, the weight of Seren's years pressed down harder, a constant reminder of the curse they longed to break. Iris, observing Seren's growing weariness, began to understand the true cost of eternal life, her initial awe giving way to a deep empathy for the immortal's plight. Finally, they reached the threshold of Orion's discovery, a vast, cathedral-like cavern that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. At its center stood Orion himself, the artifact floating before him in a column of shimmering light. The elder's eyes met Serene's, a silent understanding passing between them. As Seren stepped forward, drawn by an irresistible pull towards the relic, Orion's voice rang out, heavy with the weight of prophecy. "Beware, timeless one. The path to mortality is paved with sacrifice. Are you prepared to pay the price?" The words hung in the air, a challenge and a warning, as Seren stood on the precipice of a choice that would reshape not only their fate but the very foundations of Underholm itself. The cavern trembled with pent-up energy as Seren approached the artifact, each step sending ripples through the shimmering column of light. The immortal's eyes, reflecting centuries of longing, fixed upon the relic that promised an end to their eternal burden. Orion's warning echoed in the vast chamber, a counterpoint to the thundering of Seren's heart. As their hand reached out, fingers trembling with anticipation and fear, the artifact pulsed, releasing a blinding flash that seared through the darkness of Underholm. In that moment of contact, Seren's mind exploded with visions, fleeting glimpses of countless lives, loves lost, and civilizations crumbled to dust. The weight of millennia crashed down, threatening to shatter their very being. Iris cried out, her voice distant and distorted as she witnessed Seren's form flicker and waver, caught between corporeal existence and something other. The cavern shook violently, ancient stone groaning under the strain of forces long held in check. As the visions subsided, leaving Seren gasping and disoriented, a new threat emerged. The tremors had awakened something in the depths, a monstrous guardian, birthed from the collective fears and regrets of Underholm's denizens over countless generations. It rose from the shadows, a writhing mass of darkness and stolen memories, its very presence a challenge to Seren's resolve. Orion's voice cut through the chaos, revealing the true nature of the test. To prove worthy of mortality, Seren must confront and overcome the accumulation of their immortal existence. The battle that ensued was as much psychological as it was physical. For every strike Seren landed against the shadow creature, a memory surfaced, joyous, painful, long buried. Each parry forced them to confront the choices made over centuries, the lives touched and altered by their eternal presence. Iris and Orion could only watch in awe and terror as Seren fought not just for the chance at mortality, but for redemption from the weight of their own history. As the conflict reached its zenith, Seren stood at the precipice of victory, the Shadow Guardian weakened but not yet defeated. It was then that the true meaning of Orion's prophecy became clear. The sacrifice demanded was not of flesh and blood, but of the very essence that defined Seren's existence. To truly embrace mortality, they would have to willingly relinquish the vast repository of knowledge and experience accumulated over eons. With a cry that echoed through the caverns of Underholm, Seren made their choice, surrendering to the unknown in a blinding surge of energy that threatened to reshape the very foundations of the underground city. In the aftermath of Seren's momentous decision, an eerie calm settled over the cavernous chamber. The blinding light gradually faded, revealing a transformed landscape. Where once stood an immortal burdened by countless years, now knelt a figure both familiar and strange. Seren, reborn. The weight of centuries had lifted, leaving behind a being who blinked at the world with new eyes, experiencing the sharp edges of mortality for the first time in eons. Iris and Orion approached cautiously, their faces a mixture of wonder and concern as they witnessed the profound change in their companion. As Seren struggled to rise, each movement a testament to newfound vulnerability, the very foundations of Underholm began to shift. The sacrifice that had granted mortality had also unleashed a cascade of changes throughout the underground city. Passages realigned, ancient chambers long sealed, creaked open, and a fresh current of air swept through the stagnant corridors. The citizens of Underholm, sensing the transformation, emerged from their dwellings in confused wonder, their voices a rising murmur of questions and exclamations. Orion, his eyes gleaming with a wisdom that seemed to span ages, began to explain the true nature of Seren's curse and its connection to the city. For as long as Underholm had existed, it had been anchored by the presence of an immortal guardian, a role Seren had unwittingly assumed centuries ago. With the breaking of the curse, the city was now free to evolve, to face its own mortality and the possibility of change. This revelation sent ripples of both excitement and fear through the gathering crowd, as the implications of a mutable mortal city began to sink in. Iris, her scholarly mind racing with the possibilities, found herself thrust into the role of mediator between the newly mortal Seren and the curious, sometimes hostile inhabitants of Underholm. Many revered Seren as a living legend, while others blamed them for the upheaval now facing their once unchanging home. Through it all, Iris stood as a bridge between past and present, her compassion and intellect helping to guide the city through its tumultuous rebirth. As days passed and Seren grappled with the myriad sensations and limitations of mortal life, a new challenge emerged. The artifact that had facilitated the transformation had not been destroyed, but instead had fragmented, its shards scattering throughout Underholm. Each fragment held a piece of Seren's vast knowledge and power, presenting a tantalizing lure for those who would seek to claim immortality for themselves. The race to recover these shards became the driving force of Underholm's new era, with Seren, Iris and Orion at the center of a web of alliances and betrayals. As they navigated this treacherous new landscape, the true cost of Seren's sacrifice and the ultimate fate of Underholm hung in the balance. Months had passed since Seren's transformation, and Underholm pulsed with a newfound vitality. The once stagnant city had become a crucible of change, its inhabitants grappling with the concepts of progress and mortality that had long been foreign to them. Seren, now fully mortal, had aged visibly, lines etched their face, and a weariness settled in their bones. Yet with each ache and every grey hair, they found a bittersweet joy in the preciousness of fleeting existence. Iris had become a respected leader, her wisdom and compassion guiding Underholm through its tumultuous rebirth, while Orion served as a bridge between the old ways and the new. The quest to retrieve the scattered fragments of the artifact had taken its toll. Many had fallen to the lure of immortality, their obsession twisting them into shadows of their former selves. Seren, Iris and Orion worked tirelessly to recover the shards, knowing that each piece reclaimed was a step towards securing Underholm's future. But as they neared their goal, a terrible truth emerged. The power contained within the fragments was destabilizing the very bedrock of the city. Underholm, once a sanctuary from the passage of time, now faced the very real threat of collapse. In a chamber deep beneath the city's heart, Seren stood before the reassembled artifact, its power thrumming with dangerous intensity. The choice that lay before them was heavy with irony. To save Underholm and its people, one would need to take on the mantle of immortality once again, becoming a living anchor to stabilize the fracturing realm. Seren, who had only just begun to savor the bittersweet beauty of mortal life, faced the prospect of returning to the eternal burden they had so recently escaped. As tremors shook the chamber and the voices of panicked citizens echoed from above, Seren looked to Iris and Orion. In their eyes, They saw not just friendship and respect, but a reflection of all they had come to cherish about mortal existence, the intensity of fleeting emotions, the strength found in vulnerability, the beauty of a life fully lived. In that moment, Seren understood the true meaning of sacrifice. With a sad smile, they stepped towards the artifact, prepared to give up their hard-won mortality to ensure a future for those they had come to love. But fate, it seemed, had one final twist in store. As Seren reached for the artifact, Iris suddenly interposed herself, her eyes shining with determination and love. "You've carried this burden for centuries," she said, her voice unwavering. "Let me take it now. Let my sacrifice be the foundation for Underholm's future." Before Seren or Orion could react, Iris grasped the artifact. In a blinding flash, she took on the mantle of immortality, her mortal form transforming into a being of radiant energy. The tremors subsided as Iris, now the eternal guardian of Underholm, used her newfound power to stabilize the city. Seren watched, tears streaming down their face, as Iris ascended to take her place as the living heart of Underholm. In her sacrifice, Seren found the true value of their own mortality, the capacity to inspire love so profound that another would give up everything for them. As a new era dawned for Underholm, Seren embraced their finite existence with renewed purpose, vowing to live every remaining moment in honor of Iris's gift and the infinite possibilities that lay in a single, precious lifetime.